was being told. Meanwhile, Juan Calabona, soaking wet and holding on to the gangway with all his might, wondered whether it might be the Lord's will that his journey would end there. It was 8 weeks since they had left La Rochelle under the cover of night. 18 cogs, between 60 and 90 feet long, had set sail with their valuable cargo cramming the holds, so much so that it had been necessary to remove the ballast rocks to make room for it. They had needed 22 days to reach the Canaries, the islands of fortune, at one of the most westerly called La Gomera. They had replenished their stocks of water, fruit, and vegetables. They had been sailing for 25, 26, or 27 days. Who was counting? The water, already putrefied, had been rationed to one single bowl at sunset. The vegetables lasted 1 week, and even the dried meat, maggot-ridden, was just a savory memory. The room for supplies on board had been reduced to its uttermost limit, so that if God did not prevent it by showing them land in the next few days, they would be a crew of ghosts navigating to the other world. But those were worries Brother Juan had had hours before. "Brother Juan!" He opened his eyes to find the boatswain's soaking face inches away from his own, yelling. "Go below deck!" he cried again, raising his voice above the roar of the wind. "It is very dangerous out here." The friar shook his head, at which the boatswain replied with an inaudible curse, and, after hesitating briefly, he shrugged his shoulders and turned to face the storm once more. Juan Calabona then proceeded to sit down on the planks, and passing one arm through the gangway light, he managed to hold his hands together over his chest in prayer. Not the right posture, nor the right place, but, indeed, the right time to do so. He noticed then that his precious ring, which he had sacrificed so much to earn, danced on his finger. He had thinned so much that he had to tie his trousers with a cord, reflecting as in a mirror the emaciated figures of his traveling companions. He became aware that he might lose the symbol which gave meaning to his existence. That was even more frightening than the storm. So he opened a small pouch he carried around his neck and put in the object that identified him as the last hope of the order, and which, by one of the many inscrutable paths of divine providence, had driven him to be on that early November night praying for his life in the midst of a hurricane. With eyes shut, he strove to withdraw from the whirl that surrounded him and prayed to God for his soul and those of the unfortunate men who were fighting for their lives in that hell of wind and water. He heard, or rather felt in his gut, a frightful splintering sound of death beneath his feet, and knew that the robust cog, designed to withstand the worst gales of the North Sea, had said enough. Deadly wounded, she would never reach her destination. 1. I had just reached the surface and still had the regulator in my mouth when I heard Jack yelling at me. He was leaning over the yacht's bow, holding the anchor cable with both hands. "Ulysses, the anchor's got caught again. Go back down and release it, will you?" "You've got to be kidding me. Again?" Reluctantly, I put the regulator back in my mouth with my right hand, while with my left I pulled the air device off my life vest and slowly sank back into the warm waters. Bloody hell, I thought as I went down. This can't be happening. 5 minutes to decompress properly, and now I have to go down again and resurface fast because of the damned anchor.